Hey, my name is Connor, and today I want to show you how you can use Koyfin to track your portfolio. So to track your portfolio in Koyfin, the first thing we want to do is head over to the Watchlist tab, and here we're going to be able to create baskets of stocks that we're interested in following. For this specific example, we want to recreate our portfolio. So if we go to the new Watchlist tab, we can see that Koyfin gives us a template for an equity portfolio. We'll click that, and it's going to give us an example basket of stocks with a bunch of columns here, and we'll go through each of those. So the ones here highlighted in gray, they're going to be portfolio tools where we manually put in the input. And the ones here which are white are going to be basing their output from the inputs that we put in here. So to add more portfolio tools to this watch list, we'll go up to columns, we'll hit portfolio tools, and you can see here that there's a number of other columns that we don't yet have in our watch list. So we'll go ahead and select all of those. And when we've done that, you'll see them all lined up on the right-hand side. Now that we have all of our portfolio tools in our column headings, if we go ahead and take Tesla, for example, and say that we have 10 shares at an average cost of $150, you can start to see some of these columns populate, and we'll continue until they're all done. So purchase date, we're going to say that we purchased this 2 summers ago in 2021. We're going to say that the price target is $300 a share. And we'll see that all of these outputs change depending on what we do. If we go ahead and change the purchase date to the summer of 2020, for example, you'll see this CAGR change from 32 to 21. Right now, the weighting is 100%. So if we go and add a quantity to Amazon, an average share price, $85, a purchase date of last summer, and a price target of $150 per share. We now have split the weightings roughly into 2/3 and 1/3 between Tesla and Amazon. And what's left for us to do now is to populate the rest of these columns. We'll go ahead and add all these inputs in just a second, but you can also add our entire library of fundamental data, technical data, analyst estimates, percentile ranks, and all the other data points that we have on Koyfin to these columns as well. But if we go into custom formulas, we can also create columns and formulas specific to our portfolio. So we can build out stock-based comp as a percentage of sales if we want to, just by creating a formula and expressing it as a percentage. But we can also add notes as well. So we have a column here for single line of text. You can go ahead and call that notes, for example, create that and add it to our watch list. We now have a text box here where we can add our own notes into each position. And we can also add labels as well, which I'm going to show you with one that I prepared earlier. So here's a more fleshed out version of what you might want your portfolio tracker to look like. We have the weightings over here. I've created labels to imply whether they're equities, ETFs, or REITs. I have the sector, the market cap, some earnings data, as well as some forward revenue estimate data. So we'll see here that down this column, this is what each company is expected to do in revenue over the next 12 months. And here's the difference between the trailing and the forward basis. So most of these companies are expected to grow sales. There's a handful that are expected to show declining sales next year. We also have analyst ratings down here on the side as well. Now, something else interesting you can do here is add summary rows. So if we go ahead and click on that, we're going to be able to show max and minimum ranges, averages, medians, percentiles, and weight adjusted sums. So let's go ahead and select minimum, maximum, average, and weight adjusted sum. If we scroll down to the bottom here, we're now going to see all of those summary rows for our basket of stocks. We can see that the average forward earnings multiple is 28.7 for this basket. On a weight adjusted basis, it's 30. We can also see the average gross margin across this portfolio is 52%, with a 21% EBIT margin and a 17% net profit margin. And you can arrange the portfolio by any of these columns. So if you want to see which companies in your portfolio are up most year to date, we can see here that Tesla is right at the top and Target Hospitality is right at the bottom. Setting up a portfolio in Koyfin is not just useful for tracking the portfolio, but it also unlocks a lot of capabilities of the platform as a whole. And here's a few examples. So if I go to the news tab for this watch list, I now have a dedicated news feed for news, press releases, filings, and transcripts covering all the companies in my portfolio, and I can read those inside of Koyfin. I can also head over to the market scatter and take my portfolio and use on an X and Y basis to compare the basket of companies for any metric that I can think of. And I can also come over to the earnings calendar, plug in my portfolio, and get a dedicated calendar for all of my companies, including consensus estimates across revenue, EBIT, EPS, and everything else that you can think of. So that's how you can track a portfolio in Koyfin, as well as a few advantages of doing so. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out in the comments and we'll get back to you.